Hi, this is Amir from Simpletek.ca, and in this video I'm going to attempt to teach Microsoft Access, and I'm going to be using Access 2010. I've got that installed on my computer. There is not much of a difference in the look and the way the buttons are in 2010 and 2007. The only difference, one of the big differences, the File button here in the corner. Instead of that, in 2007 you find the Office button, which is like a circular button with the Office symbol. So we'll try to, in this video I'm gonna series, it's gonna be 3 to 4 videos of 20 to 30 minutes each, where I'm gonna go through the tables, forms, queries, and reports, and explain to you how they all work together. First with a simple table, and then in another separate video, which most probably will be the fifth video, I'll try to do a relational database. So it will be like a two different tables and how they interact with each other. So the first thing, when you start Access, you get access to this window where you can actually choose to do a blank database, which is what we want to do now. You can also choose these templates, like they have this assets templates, contacts templates. So there are a lot of templates which was from the office.com, which is the Microsoft's website, where you can get a lot of already created Access templates that you can use. But for our purpose, we're just going to do a blank database. And if you look here on the right hand side bottom, it says that's the name. So for this file name, I would like to I'll call it contacts, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a table with a contact list which will have all my friends, family, and everybody's contacts in there. So, and it says it's going to put into a folder, documents. So, but I would rather create a separate folder within that documents folder. So I click here and I'll say within this documents folder, create a new folder, and I'll just call it Access. So now it will save it in that as contacts. Click OK, and I can click create. Now one of the big difference you'll find between Access and Word is that as soon as you start doing something in Access, it will make you save it. Like you see, we created the file and we saved the file right from the get-go, because that's the way it works. Now in Access, everything has two parts to it. One is what you see in the front, and what is behind it, which is the design element. Access is very powerful. What I'm going to be teaching you in these 3-4 videos is maybe 5-10% of what you can do in Access. And so this is just a good introduction to get you going, and if you like it, you can actually go grab a book from the library, or buy a book and study even more if you feel like it. But this is a really good introduction, enough material that if you have to take a computer test at any of the employment agencies or anything like that, you'll be able to figure it out and at least get good grades on that. So we got to the part where we said create the file. As soon as you do that, Access brings you to what's called table. So you see up here it says table 1 also up here, and now on the top you see the section there, table tools. So if I hit close here, because I did not save it, so it's not there anymore. So this is like even completely blank. So this will be a good place to start. So we've got some difference from 2003 to 2007, 2010 is that they have created tabs. So these home button, this create, are called tabs, and then these guys are called ribbons underneath it. So if you hear that word, get used to it. You will hear it a lot. Tabs and ribbons. So you'll hear me talk about it a lot. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a table. So, but before I can start typing in the table the actual contact list, I would like to design the table. So I can click on design, and this is what the design view looks like. There is this section there called field name. There's a section called data type, and there's a section called description, and I'll talk about that now. So the field name is actually the title of your columns. Like if you in any database is, or what a database is a list of records of information. So you've got your rows and columns. So whatever I type there in the field name, that will be the top, that will be the caption that is on the top of the column header, so that I know what information to type there. So the first field I would put in there will be called contact ID. So that will be like my numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, just something simple. And the data type defines what information you can put in that field. So in this case, I only want the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4. So I could choose the data type number. That will give me the permission to put 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I could select the data type auto number. Auto number means automatically create the numbering system 1, 2, 3, 4 for me. And I'm going to make this field my primary key. So you see that key button? I'm going to click it, and you will see a key type symbol shows up on the left hand side of that contact ID. Now let's take a few minutes to understand what a primary key is. A primary key is something that is very unique to all the fields. So if you think about it, if you look at yourself, what is a very unique thing in each and every one of our case? Our names cannot be unique because somebody else can have our name. Our last names cannot be unique. Telephone numbers can be unique, but sometimes some people doesn't have a cell phone. Two people can have the same telephone number. But in the US, what they call social insurance number, in Canada, we got the same type of numbering. So those numbers are unique. A driver's license number, a passport number. So in Access, it's nice to have a field which is a very unique way to recognize a record. So this 1, 2, 3 will never be repeated for other records. I'll go to the next field, and I'll just start creating what information I want in my contact list. So say the first one I would like first name. Now you'll find that, you see, I'm not leaving a space between the first and the name. This is just an old programming habit that a lot of people have followed. You can leave a space, it's up to you. But if you are leaving the space, be consistent, leave a space all the time. If not, then you can type the way I am typing, where I'm typing first and then the capital N, so that it's easy to read. Now again, what is a data type? A data type is what defines what information can be put in that field. So this is first name. Now in this case, I need to type words, sometimes number, if I was dealing with someone King James the Fourth or whatever. So I can choose the data type text. Now in Access, text means that it will allow you to type words or numbers. Now that's something I don't control, that's just the way it is. Data type text will allow you to type words and numbers. Now each and every field has this bottom part called the field properties, and I'll talk about few of it as I go forward and add more elements to it. So see, when I click on contact ID, I've got certain sets of field properties. When I click on first name, there are some other. So I'll just talk about this first one right now, which says field size. And on the right hand side, you will see the information about what that field does. The field size, as it says, how many characters do you need to reserve in that space. Now first name, I know nobody should have more than 20 words in their first name. So I think 20 is too much, but just to be on the safe side. Last name, data type will be text. I'm just using the tab key to go to the next section. And even up here, if I want, I can make it 25 last name. I can have a field called relation. Just want to decide, okay, is this person a friend? Is he family? Is he a cousin? Or whatever wordings you want to use. Again, that will be text. After that, I can have get their birth date. Now for birth date, we need to type numbers. So the general idea would have been that I would choose number. But in this case, they have a special data type for dates and time, so I would choose that. The reason why that would be good is because with date and time as a data type, when we are doing our sorting, when you can put things in alphabetical order or in numerical order, if with the date and time data type, it will put things according to the year and then the months and the date, so it will put things in order of that. If you choose number, then it will only put it as 1 2 3 4, and it will not be a proper date order. So I'm going to choose date and time. Now in the field properties, I'm going to do two things. One thing I'm going to do is the format part. Now the format means when you enter your date, at the end of the day, how do you want to see your date? So I'll show you the options. So if I click here, so I can choose the date to show up like this. So it will spell out the month for me, or I can see it like this. I prefer to see the month spelled out. Now the next line is called input mask. And if you think about the word input, what does it imply? It implies, okay, how do you want to enter the information? You could see the information with the month and the date, the month spelled out, but maybe you don't want to enter the information like that. You would rather just enter the number. So in the input mask, I start the wizard, which is the three dots at the end. It will ask me to save it. I say yes. Now it's asking me, I didn't save the table. I should have done that right at the start. So I'll give it a name. So I'll just call it contact list. Now make sure you've set up your primary key by this time, otherwise it will try to create a primary key for you. Click OK. Now this is the input mask window. Now I can choose to enter it like this, where I'll have to type 01JAN70, or I could choose to type it like that. So I will have to just say 09 or 01 for January, 01 for the date, and 19 whatever. So it's up to you. You can take your pick. I think for now I'll just take this 27 September and I'll just write here 01 JAN 77, and I can just hit finish. I don't even need to hit next. If you want to, you can just hit finish, and it puts a section there. Now in the description section, I can leave a note and say enter date as 01 JAN 77. Just a note. After birth date, I can get their telephone number. Now the telephone number, the obvious choice for the data type will be number. However, the problem is I would like the telephone numbers to have my brackets, like the area codes in brackets. I would like the hyphens. So if I choose number, it will not allow me to do that. So that's why the data type needs to be text. And in the field properties, I click on input mask. I start the wizard. I say yes to saving it. And there is the phone number data type. You see right there on the top? I click it, and you see there's a lot of different ones in there. And I click finish. So now I've got a telephone number data type. Some of these things will make sense once I show you what the information will look like when I switch to the actual entering. So I think while we are talking about it, let's do that, and we'll come back and add some more fields. So if you look on the left hand corner, there is this symbol here. Under the view, that's the data sheet view, but you don't have to click it. You can just click on this button on the top there, asking me to save. I say yes. Now this is my data sheet view. Data sheet, whatever works for you. This is where I actually start typing my list. So say if I click in the first name and I type John, and you see the contact ID turned to number 1 automatically. Hit tab. Now you see for the date, if I want to put the person's birthday, I say 22 Jan 66. So you see automatically it puts it like that. If I want a telephone number, area code just making it up. So you see it automatically put the brackets and everything for me. Now if I want to go back because I want to add some more fields, I just click on this button here on the left hand corner below the file, which is the design view. So I click it. Now I'm back to the design view. So after telephone number, I'll just create a field called city. So I can say, where do they live? And then I can also have a field called country, which will also be text because all of those things. And I can change the field size if I want it. And I'm just hitting tab to go down. Say I want, for whatever reason, I just want postal code. In the US they call it zip code. Now for the postal code, they don't have a data type for the Canadian postal code because the Canadian postal code is like for example, it will be M5J2J2. And in the US, the zip codes are numerical. They all have numbers. So this is a good way I can show you how you can create your own input mask and just get an idea about it. So I click on input mask. I start the wizard by hitting the dots. It will ask me to save. I say yes. Now you see in this list, I don't see a postal code. I see a zip code. So what I can do is I can edit the list. Now make sure you don't start editing this because you start editing the phone number. But I want to create a new one. So I click on this new record and I can call it postal code. Now I need to understand Excel's language of understanding input mask. So I can go to the help section. And I need to just find that information, which will give me a list of characters that will allow me right there. So you see each and every character has a certain meaning in Access. So if I type 0, it means I have to enter a digit. If I enter 9, it's an optional entering digits. Okay. L means I have to enter a letter. That is compulsory. So in my case, I need to do an L because our postal code starts with an alphabet, and then I'll do a 0 and then a L. I'll leave a space and then 0L0. And also there is this line here, converts all characters that follow to uppercase. So it would be nice if I put that symbol. So I'll just start here with that symbol. I'll put capital L, 0 L space 0 L 0. Now make sure that you type 0 and not O. Let me say a sample. So I'm just going to type something. You see it automatically did that, and I click close. Now there should be a postal code right there, and I can click finish. I can hit save if I wanted. It's a good habit to be in that. Now I'll just do maybe one more, and I'll just create a section called notes, and I set the data type to memo because by default the text size is limited to number of characters you can type. In memo you can type as much as you want. And if I wanted email or whatever, I'll just do a website one just for example, and I can set the data type to hyperlink. I can hit save. Now I can click here to go to the datasheet view. Remember, this is the design view. This is not the place where you enter your contact information. So I go to the datasheet view, and now you see up here I can start typing if I want. Toronto, Canada, postal code, whatever. And in notes, and you can type as much as I want. And in the website, say if I type, whatever. Now you see it's a hyperlink there. So if I clicked on it, it will launch the Internet Explorer and try to go to that website. Now I'll just talk a few more things and I'll end this video. It's coming to like 20 minutes. It's always good to keep the video at 20 next 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll continue with this in my second video. But say for example, like I'm typing Canada all the time, or I'm typing Toronto all the time. I would like to make it default if all my family and friends are here. So I go to design view, I click in the country. Make sure you go to the right field and you edit the right field properties, and in the caption I can type the word Canada. Not the caption, sorry, my bad. In the default value. Caption is a caption, what just shows up on the top. So now all my fields automatically will have Canada. Okay. I'll just go back to design view. Now say for example, yeah, majority of my family and friends are in Canada, but I've got people in the US, and I'll be typing their information. So it would be nice to have a drop down list from which I can pick, so I don't have to waste my time typing. So I could just come here, choose lookup wizard, as the word implies, look up, and it starts the wizard. Now in this case, ignore the first one for the first few videos. I'll talk about it in maybe the fifth video. I want to choose the second option, which is I will type in the values I want, because I want to, right? I have the list, it's not in the computer. So I click next now, and right here in the column I just create my list. So I can, if I want, I can type Canada, USA, India, whatever else you had in mind, UK, whatever else you felt like, you can enter your list. Click next and finish. And now we see in the bottom in the field properties there is a general section and there is a lookup section, and there is my field there. So if I wanted to edit it, I could make any changes here. If I wanted to add one, I just go to the end of the line, hit a comma, and I can add a new word. So remember general and lookup. I hit save. I'll just do it one more time with city. Lookup, I will type, and in there I can type Toronto, Mumbai, Atlanta. I lived in Bombay and I lived in Atlanta. Perth, London, Vancouver, and so on and so forth. Next, finish. Now if I go to my data sheet view, it will ask me to save. Say yes. Now when I click in the city, I should have my drop down list, and in the country I should have my drop down list. So I can change it, and my default automatically shows up, so I can go and filling up this information. So thank you for watching. This is the first video in the series. I'm going to continue. The next time when you watch the second video, I would have like bunch of information typed up here automatically, so that I can talk about some more things, and I'll get into forms, queries, and reports in the coming videos. Thanks. Watch out for my second video.